What up, YouTube? This is Daniel Rucker with True Table. Welcome to the table. This is my after hours edition. There are nights that I have so much on my mind. There's nights that I'm up watching content, working on content, editing videos, so on and so forth, and I have thoughts. And those is when I just jump in the lab and I'm like, you know what? The people will appreciate this, so let me go ahead and flow and speak my mind. But before I get started, before I get in here and get cooking, because you notice what I do, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe. Smash the like button. Works wonder for the YouTube algorithm. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, I would love to have you as a subscriber. So go ahead and subscribe. I think I'm 2 subscribers shy of 200 subscribers. So let's go ahead and get your boy to 200 so I can keep on creating this content and doing it for you guys. But tonight, what I'm going to talk about is the concept of high value and why it still seems to be such a confused component in what it truly means. And this is going to be a beneficial show for both men and women. The main reason why is because high value and what it, in a sense, create is a distinction. It is a level that a lot of people will never reach. It is a glorified position that people idolize and would like to be a part of this exclusive club. But unfortunately, it's just not something that most people will ever achieve, and that's okay. But I'm gonna talk about it, and that's what I want to do. So, high value. What is this whole high value concept? Now, one of the people that is known for bringing the high value concept to the masses per se right now is Mr. Kevin Samuels. And what Kevin has done is he has started really a conversation on getting people to try to, getting people to understand where they fall. Now, the thing about high value is high value sounds good, right? It sounds like, oh yeah, when someone sits back and they hear high value, because no one wants to be associated with low value. No one wants to be associated with low tier, low hanging fruit. No one does. It is a esteem thing for most, individuals, for most human beings, and I get it. It's fair. No one is going to call themselves trash, or no one's going to call themselves second class. That's just not what, as a society, especially as politicized world we live in now, that we have, what is it called? Participation trophies, and everyone's fair and everyone's equal, and quite frankly, that's just not the truth. But high value is a acquired position in society that means you are truly valuable to men. Now, the confusion, I believe, is when you take high value and you try to incorporate it in the dating market from the standpoint of women trying to identify high value men, and then if they qualify for high value men, and then also the reverse, because see, now there is this confusion on, well, if there's high value men, then there has to be high value women, and if there's high value men, there's high value women, then high value women have the same exact desirable traits, the same exact skill set, the same exact accolades as high value men. I'm here to tell you that's actually not true. What I believe is that, one, high value in its just at its basis, so that I don't confuse you and go off into many facets of things. High value truly means that your value as a person, as an individual, man, woman, you are valuable to men. I did a broadcast earlier today on this YouTube channel, but that was my regular show. This is my after hour show. But I did a broadcast earlier today, and the headline was that nothing happens without a man's permission. And what I was pretty much using that as a headline is what I'm going to, in a sense, talk about here. That in order to be classified high value, you, by and large, have to be awarded this level, awarded this position by men. The unfortunate part about our society now is that people don't like to identify the truth. I'm a person that likes to keep things very legitimate, very thorough, very honest, and very direct. The truth is that men run this world. Men are the leaders, men set the tone, men create the policies, men create the standard, men, we build. That's just what we do. And we have been doing that since the beginning of time. That is our position, that's our right, that's our gifting. That's not gonna change. And I know with the modernized way of doing things, a lot of times that you get into this battle of the sexes because women don't want to be subjected to this, what they call it, toxic masculinity and nonsense like that. But the truth of the matter is that men, no matter what you start, no matter what you create, and no matter what you attempt to do, there is always going to be men at the center of it. That is what I wanted to talk about in the sense of this high value thing. And the reason why this particular broadcast is beneficial for both men and women is because this is not a dating per se thing. I'm going to talk about it in many ways. I'm just going to let it kind of flow and see where we end up. But so like I was stating, high value is a position that you arrive at. You work to get there, but it is solidified and it is verified, certified by men, by a group of men, by established men, by other high value men. That's just what it is. In order for you to be able to stand in the understanding that you are one of these members, another high value man, you have had to acquire a certain level of acceptance by a group of other men. And these other men have to be men who are industry leaders, people who are, movers and shakers, people who are of value. Now, let me give you an example. In order for you to be considered a high value man, your particular skill set, your particular, knowledge, experience, wisdom has to be something that is constantly beneficial as well as sought out. An example of that could be a high executive employee, a CEO or ex-CEO, a business partner, a producer, a director. It is someone that when people see what you're capable of, they seek you out. And they seek you out to acquire your skill set, your time, your knowledge, your experience. And in most cases, if not all cases, they're willing to compensate you for this. In order for them to benefit off of what you have to offer, they're willing to pay you for it, but you're of tremendous value that in order for them to reach the next level or to expand upon what they've already built, you are a key component in that equation, right? Okay, why is that important? It's important particularly for this reason. The whole confusion on where women lack the high value status and then why men are the only ones that can have the high value status is because in order for a woman to be considered high value, she has to have a man to co-sign on it. A woman cannot reach high value status without the assistance of a man. A woman cannot reach high value as a term or as a position in life without first being co-signed by a man. And this is the reason why it is rare, if non-existent, that you would know a woman to have what's considered high value status and not have a man be attached to it. Now, this is the beautiful part about this, and when I say beautiful, this is the vast difference. A man does not need a woman in order to be considered high value. And I think there is where the clash and where the problem is happening when we're talking about it in the sense of the arena of dating. Why women are frustrated where they are like, well, how am I not high value? I graduated from Harvard or Stanford. I have an MBA or a PhD. I make six figures. I'm accomplished. So on, so on, so forth. Ladies, I'm here to tell you, you operating independently in this world and being accomplished does not necessarily get you into the club of high value. And the reason why is because in order for you to be high value, you still, without question, need the cosign of a man, period. You as a woman are not going to have the privilege of being ushered into this group because the group belongs to men collectively. That's one of the reasons. I'm gonna do my best to articulate. I'm flowing. This is something like I said, I'm up and I'm just letting my thoughts go, so bear with me. One of the things that sparked this particular motivation to do this recording right now was that I was listening to a podcast on the roommates, and Hafiz was asking a woman, what makes you a high value woman? And she immediately started listing all the things she's achieved. She was, highly ambitious, paid, educated, so on and so forth. Here's the problem with why a lot of times most women won't understand that what you do is not solely what makes you high value, right? As a woman, your true value for any man is your ability to partner with that man and work that man's program. Be on his page, be on his team, be a team player. That is your key function as a woman. That is what exemplifies to men by and large. It doesn't matter if these men are high value or not. What every man wants to know is when I request this woman to be a part of my life, she is going to be a key teammate, a helpmate, supportive, loyal, peace of mind. She's all of the positive characteristics. Because when men are looking to be with you, ladies, they're not looking for someone who is equivalent in the sense of ambition and so on and so forth. So anyway, that's one thing I wanted to touch on. I believe why this is confusing, specifically in the arena of dating, is because a lot of women will talk about the type of men that they date. They will talk about the type of men that send them gifts, send them flowers, fly them out, take them out, hang out with them, date them. But the one thing they don't talk about as often is these same men proposing and wanting to acquire them as wives. And I'm gonna park right there for a second because this is very important. Why is there a difference between a man dating and flying out and the gifts and all of that and the proposals? Well, I'm gonna tell you why, ladies. A man wanting to marry you is truly the measure of his value for you. Any man, especially a high value man, that sees it necessary to marry you is essentially him saying that he needs what you have characteristically. You as the person that you are, the abilities that you have, the character that you have, the wit that you have, you are one of many billions of women on the planet that he needs to have on his team, in his organization, a part of his life. So he's willing to marry you. Now, since I mentioned the dating, a lot of women get confused is that these same men will date you, hang out with you, sleep with you, buy you stuff and all that. That's nothing. Those are trinkets, especially in the arena that is these men. When we're talking about high value men, we're talking about men who are in the top 10 to 15% of men. Talking about high earners, we're talking about people who are connected. We're talking about people who are desirable. We're talking about people who are accomplished and established. So buying you a purse, taking you out on a date, flying you to Miami for a weekend or whatever, not a big deal for these men. They'll do that for actually mostly anybody. And most of the time, they're not even doing it necessarily for you. They're doing it because this is their lifestyle and they're just making you a part of the lifestyle. Where women get it confused a lot of times is that they associate the attention and the fact that this attention is more on the luxurious side as value. No, ladies, that's where you're wrong. The only time you can sit back and say that you are truly a high value woman is if another high value man have acquired you as his wife. That's the only time. You cannot make yourself a high value woman on your own accord. You cannot make yourself a high value woman by your own merit. It still requires the permission of a man. Now, for the fellas, there's the one thing about this whole, high value and the term and stuff is that no matter if it's woman or man, both require men still to approve high value and still give permission to the individual that is claiming high value or wants to claim high value. The example I use about the datings and the trinkets, I often have laughed, and hopefully this ties up and makes sense to you guys, because see, there's times where males, are in certain settings, right? And this used to be mostly an older practice. I mean, it still is something now, but anyway, to not stretch it out. So imagine, ladies, a group of men who go out to Vegas, for example, for a weekend. And let's say it's just a group of 4 guys, bachelors, and they're all on their own individual level. They're all doing okay in life, whichever. And they go out and they hit the clubs, and they hit the bars, and they hit the day parties, and they do this and they do that. And all weekend, they're meeting different women, and they're getting numbers, right? And at the end of the weekend, one guy says, oh, I got 32 numbers. Another guy says, oh, I got 26 numbers. Another guy says, oh, I got 24 numbers. Another guy says, oh, I got 18 numbers, right? The way that the guys would measure the numbers that they got from these women is low level, in the sense that women understand giving a number to a guy is not a big deal. Giving a number to a guy doesn't mean anything. Giving a number to a guy doesn't mean that you'll marry him. Giving a number to a guy doesn't mean that you'll sleep with him. Giving a number to a guy doesn't even necessarily mean that you like him all that much. You could have just been bored, or he was funny, or you were sad at the moment, or you weren't getting the attention the day that time that you wanted. Whatever the case may be, right? And there are men that would take that number, or take those numbers, and build value off the fact that they got you to give them, your number. And they go back and they're like, oh, dude, man, I got this many numbers. I got 32 numbers. Oh, man, she was bad. I got 17 numbers. Like, everybody's giving high fives, and they're feeling good about themselves, right? But they didn't acquire anything. See, it was just a potential contact at that, because there's no real value exchange for you giving this man your number. You're not giving him your loyalty. You're not giving him your devotion. You're not giving him your life. You're not giving him, undivided attention. You gave him a number, right? In the same way, it sounds silly for grown men to celebrate getting a woman's phone number. It's the same way it sounds silly for a grown woman to talk about what men have done as far as dates and gifts and so on and so forth, especially high value men. If a high value man buys you a Gucci purse, guess what? It's not a big deal. If a high value man takes you on a, lavish vacation to the Maldives, or, Dubai or Mexico or wherever, guess what? Not a big deal. Why? Because the value for his particular lifestyle monetarily affords him the ability to do these things whether you're there or not. You just so happen to be benefiting from it, right? Okay, so let's flip that. It's the same way that in a woman's value is her time, attention, fertility, body, devotion, attention, loyalty, sex. If a woman's not having sex with you, fellas, her giving you the number doesn't mean anything. It's low level. It's low vibrations, pretty much. In the same way that it sounds silly for a man to brag about numbers, ladies, is the same way it sounds silly for you women to brag about what high value men have done for you, or what men have slid into your DMs, or what men tried to take you out. It sounds foolish, right? And I wanted to touch on that because I consistently hear this being regurgitated that, oh, well, so and so blue checks, trying to take me out or hit me up, and you don't know who be in my DMs. And I believe that women are building so much validity off of such low level attention, in the sense that it's nothing. If they're not asking you to be their wife, if they're not willing to make you a part of their program, then you are not truly valuable, and you are not a high value woman. All right, you're not allowed to be that until you say I do. And it's the same thing for men, obviously lacking the marriage component. And I think that is the vast difference of it, is that a high value man still has to be co-signed and verified and certified by other high value men. The whole equation about the high value concept is one thing and one thing across the board. It still requires men from the start to the end. No matter if you're a man trying to acquire high value status, or a woman trying to acquire high value status through a high value man, at the end of it all, neither one party will be considered high value unless a man says so. High value belongs to men. High value as a position belongs to men. We are the gatekeepers of the arrival point of that, part of life, and experiencing what all of that has to offer when it comes in reference particularly to being classified high value. So I wanted to touch on that, hopefully add some more context, some clarity to it. It still seems to be confused that, you got a lot of ladies that are running around out here taking the things that they do and the, our accomplishments that they've had, and trying to make new rules. And this particular rule is not changing. In order to be someone of high value, you have to have done something or a series of things that bring attention to you, that now means that you are constantly being recruited, requested, petitioned for things that are facilitating and auxiliary, that you're more than likely going to be paid for the benefit of that group, that person, that organization, or organizations collectively. That's really what it boils down to, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to touch on that. Hopefully I added a little bit more clarity and context to this overall high value debacle, confusion, so on and so forth. I made me some tea. It's my after hours, so I'm a little more casual with you guys. I'm just a little bit more, down to earth. I would sit on my couch, but I need to actually get another one. This one's a little bit beat. But anyway, but that's what I wanted to touch on tonight. Hopefully I gave somebody a little bit more to think about, to bring us a little bit more clarity, because it just, when I hear certain things and I'm like, wow, they still don't get it. It's different. There's different requirements for men and then women when it comes particularly to this high value. But at the end of it all, no woman or man can be considered high value without a man or a group of men stating that through their acquisition of you. And the acquisition for a man to be high value is business partnerships, business alliances, and things of that nature. For a woman, it is it is her being acquired as a wife. And that is what solidifies your high value status as a woman from a high value man. So anyway, thank you for hanging out with me for all of almost 25 minutes now. Like I stated, this is my after hours. I'm just flowing. I'm having thoughts. I'm going to continue to bring this content to you guys. I hope that you appreciate what I'm doing, what I'm putting down, because I do this for you guys. It's going to be a journey, and I'm enjoying it. Hopefully you're enjoying it. So until next time, this is Daniel Rucker with Truth Table After Hours Edition. Signing out. You guys have a good night. Take care. Until next time.